Hi there, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be making the most delicious, saucy, and flavorful vegan marry-me pasta. This is by far one of my favorite pasta dishes, plus it's definitely a dish to impress. Marry-me pasta is one of my go-to recipes whenever I have family or friends over for dinner. So here I have 2 blocks of extra firm tofu, and I'm going to start off by cutting them each into 3 cutlet-style pieces. For the breading of the tofu, I've started off with 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. The first ingredient I'm going to add in will be 6 teaspoons of oregano. Then I'm going to add in 6 teaspoons of smoked paprika. Then I'm going to add in 6 teaspoons of garlic pepper seasoning. And lastly, 5 teaspoons of salt. I'm using Celtic salt, but you could just use regular sea salt. Now using a mini whisk, I'm going to combine all the ingredients. Now we're going to prep the rest of our ingredients. So here I have a large onion, and I'm just going to cut off the bottom and top and then peel it. Now that my onion's ready, I'm going to cut it. I will only need about 1/3. Now I'm going to finely chop my onion. This is kind of optional. You don't have to finely chop it. You can make the pieces as large or as small as you want. My family just does not like large chunks of onion. I'm stopping this video to give you a pro tip. If you ever cut yourself, particularly with a really sharp knife, while cooking like I just did in the video, take some cayenne pepper and you're going to put that directly on your cut and it'll stop it from bleeding. Now let's get back to the recipe. Next, we're going to prep the garlic. So here technically I have 2 cloves, but this one's ginormous, so I'm going to count it as 2 cloves. So you'll need 3 cloves in total, and then I'm just going to chop this into smaller pieces so I can grate it. So back to my cut, I just wanted to show you guys that I just washed off the cayenne and my finger has stopped bleeding. So the reason this works is because cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin. Capsaicin is a natural vasoconstrictor, meaning it constricts blood vessels and temporarily reduces blood flow to an injured area. This is one of my favorite tips in the kitchen because I cook a lot and having to deal with band-aids and blood, it's just not very sanitary, so this solves the issue quick and naturally. Now I'm just going to squeeze all of my garlic. And the last thing we're going to chop up will be sun-dried tomatoes. Here I have about 1/3 of a cup. You can use less or more depending on how much you like them. And that will be all for the chopping. The last thing we're going to prepare will be 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of water. This just helps make it a little runnier. Then I'm going to whisk this together. The spices we will need for the pasta will be half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 4 teaspoons of oregano, and then I usually use 4 teaspoons of smoked paprika, but here I'm using 2 teaspoons of paprika and then 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika as a substitute. Now I'm just gonna whisk this all together. Now we're gonna finish the tofu. I've just added some of the tofu seasoning to a plate and I'm flattening that out. Now I'm going to add in my first tofu cutlet and I'm just gonna cover it completely on all sides in seasoning. Now I'm gonna set this one aside. I'm going to take my next one and do the exact same thing. If you're enjoying this recipe, then please make sure to like and subscribe so you can get notified anytime I post a new video. Now let's get back to the recipe. So I've just added some oil to my cast iron and I'm just gonna let that heat up. Once that's heated up, I'm going to add in my tofu one at a time, careful not to splash any oil. And the second one as well. Now I'm gonna let the tofu cook on this side for 2 minutes before flipping. And now I'm gonna let them cook for another 2 minutes on this side as well. These are now done, so I'm gonna transfer them onto a wired rack. Now I'm gonna repeat these steps for the rest of the tofu. I've just put my pasta to cook, following the instructions on the box, and in the meantime, I'm going to prepare the sauce. First, I'm going to heat up my pan. Here I'm just adding in a little bit of oil and I'm gonna let that heat up as well. Once heated up, I'm going to start off by adding in my garlic. With my garlic, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of butter. Now I'm gonna let this cook for about a minute or two so the garlic can get nice and fragrant. Then I'm going to add in my onion. And I'm going to mix this and let it cook for a few minutes until translucent. Then I'm going to add in my sun-dried tomatoes and mix those in as well. Next, we're going to add in the seasonings from earlier. I'm going to mix this in really well and let it cook for about a minute to help enhance the flavor. Once fragrant, I'm going to add in my tomato paste. Now that that's cooked for about a minute, I'm going to add in 16 ounces of vegan heavy cream. I make my own, but you could also buy a store-bought one. Now I'm gonna mix this up really well. At this point, you can add in salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna add in just a sprinkle of salt and a shake of pepper. Now I'm gonna stir this and let it cook for a few minutes. Now that this is bubbling, here I have a cup of reserved pasta water, and I'm going to add in about half a cup. Now I'm gonna stir this up and let it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes for the last time. Lastly, I'm going to add in my bow pasta. And stir that in gently. Now that the pasta is done, I'm going to remove it from the heat and serve. Thank you so much for watching, and follow for more simple plant-based recipes.